Thank you for having me. I'm Jasper Mund, and I'm from the Sportklinik Cologne, as you can all see. What we do is we focus on knee injuries, especially the rupture of the ACL, which is the anterior cruciate ligament. So yeah, let's start us off with a little video so you can see our customers. Yep. So that's what we're doing all day, basically. These people are in severe pain, but afterwards we try to fix it. And what is the ACL? So it's a ligament in the knee, and it's basically the one ligament, the key ligament that gives us stability in the knee, and the rupture of it is very common because in sports like football, rugby, basketball, handball, also skiing, it just happens. So yeah. But even though these people are in pain, mostly they come to us like this. You see a football player, might have been even his third time rupturing his ACL, but their first question is always, when can I go back to play? So for us, the good result of the surgery and the fast recovery is very important to have happy patients. Yeah, here's some pictures. You can see on the left side, well, it's a little bit lightened, but on the left side there's an attacked ACL. It basically runs from, as you can see, the thigh bone to the shin bone, and there's no blood. It's under tension, it's firm and strong. And on the right side, that's what we see in the arthroscopic view, so we're in the joint. This one is a ruptured one, so there's barely anything left, and there's a lot of blood, and then we have to clean up the mess. So what we do is, on the right side you can see a video of the operation. We basically just take out the injured ligament, what is left of it, and replace it by some implant that's made out of muscle tendon. And yeah, we take it from the hamstring, so around the knee we insert the tendon and then we form our implant. So there it's in a good position and the patient has a new ACL. And hopefully it won't rupture again. And it's always a topic that every one of us pretty much knows, so it's very, very frequent. For example, the latest news, as you all know, Leroy Sané, he wanted to transfer from Manchester City to Bayern Munich, but the whole thing got cancelled or postponed because of a rupture of the ACL. So yeah, hopefully next summer he will be back, and then he can play for Bayern Munich, even though I'm FC Cologne. So yeah, you can have some numbers. The frequency, it's a lot. Yeah, these numbers are quite impressive, but yeah. There you also have a picture of it. And now we come to the most important part, what we want to focus on and where we want to try to find a solution and involve you guys to help us in our daily practice. So, of course, we need imaging. We take an X-ray and we do an MRI, but this is only a picture. So it might tell us if the ligament is actually ruptured and give us a hint at trace injuries, maybe a rupture of the other ligaments, but it stays a picture. So it doesn't say anything about dynamic, because you know there are some patients that don't want to have surgery and they live without an ACL and they're completely fine, like the joint is stable. But that's why we need the physical examination, and this is for us the most crucial part where we can actually tell, okay, what about the laxity? So is a surgery actually necessary? Here's some degrees of the freedom. You can try it on yourself, how flexible the knee is, depends individually. But the most important part is for us the sagittal plane, so the anterior-posterior translation, that's what we call it. So it's from just back to forth. And it should be only slightly, because this is actually the movement that the ACL prevents. So you have kind of the shin bone and the thigh bone, and it's this. So back and forth, back and forth. And that's what the ACL prevents. But if it's ruptured, of course, this movement increases. So, yeah, those are some pictures. So here you see our professor doing the examinations, as we do it all day. And the most important test for it is the Lachman test. So this will be also the base that we concentrate on. And in the Lachman test, you place one hand, as you can see here, onto the thigh bone, the upper part. You fix it, so you lock it in this position. There's a slight flexion of about 20 degrees. And then with the other hand, you firmly grasp the shin bone, and then you try to pull it towards you. The patient has to relax the leg, and the foot should stay on the bench, and then you pull it towards you. If there's kind of a stop, you know that the ACL is intact, that it prevents this translation. But if not, if there's like a mushy end and it moves towards you, that's when you know, okay, the ACL could be ruptured. But this is very dependent on the examiner's experience. And that's why we want to find a solution with you, how we can quantify actually this translation. So let's see. Yeah, here's some more pictures. There's also a modified version. If you're not that heavy, like if you can use your knee to help you to kind of fix the thigh bone. There are some patients who are really like that. Even I have to really apply a lot of force. And how can we quantify the degree of translation? So there are already some devices that can do that. For example, in the 1980s, someone invented this KT1000, but no one really uses it. I mean, look at it. It looks really old-fashioned, kind of, and it's very expensive, it's heavy, so we can't use it in our daily routine. That's why there is the Rollimeter. Also brought one with me. This thing here, more simple, very easy to use, but errors can still occur and these things can get broken, and to be honest, I don't carry it with me all the time. So I always forget it. And yeah, it just, you do the same test, like you pull the shin bone towards you and then it rests in this position and you can actually read the translation in millimeters. So yeah, here also a video where Jürgen does it. So you see this part moves upwards, and then you can just read the translation in millimeters. We say that around 3 millimeters, that's when we know the ACL is ruptured and the surgery is indicated. So there's one more, the GNRB, but same with all these devices, they're kind of inconvenient in daily practice. So that's why we think it would be so cool to use the iPhone, a daily device which everyone carries with us all the time, to measure this translation. This is one more test, the pivot shift test, but I don't want to talk about this in detail, but it's a video that shows you a little bit about the laxity, so yeah. I like this video, sorry, I just want to show it. So yeah. And there was already a project trying to quantify this pivot shift test, which is the other most important test to see whether the ACL is ruptured, but it was never launched into daily practice. So it was just a project, a study, but never launched. So yeah, we think, to sum it up, we think you could help us to actually launch something that we could use in the hospitals. And we want to determine the amount of tibial translation. It's unidimensional, so it should be quite easy. It's just in one direction. And yeah, the advantages would be that it's more objective. It's not dependent on the experience of the examiner. We could actually get data from a wide base. We could compare it on an international kind of scale. And from that we could do some graphics, research, further research. That would be very cool for us, even for students also. And I think also for the patient, they would be a lot happier because, you know, they come into our practice 2 weeks after surgery, 4 weeks after surgery, and we always try to, okay, how good is the implant? What is the progress? And that's why we think with an iPhone, if you could measure it, do some cool graphics and they could actually see it. Oh, okay, I got more stability. It would be so cool for them to track the progress, and we would have more happy patients. So yeah, you're invited to come to Cologne to see some patients, to actually get a feeling for it. For those of you who like to have a look into surgery, I hope I didn't scare you off with my videos. And yes, thank you for having me. That's it.